Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Could we just start with team news, please? Is there
Yeah.
any updates for us?
The positive one, Ben White, is today, so he will be in the squad.
Thomas Partey, is he fit enough to be involved? And what about Jorginho as well?
Yeah, he's available. He had a little niggle during the game, that's why he had to come off. But he felt good after the last few days, so he's fine. And Georgie, unfortunately, is not here. After the incident of the weekend, he hasn't recovered. So, yeah, our thoughts are with him.
How would you approach this game? Do you ignore the fact that you're 3-0 in the lead, or do you take that into account?
To win it, the same that we did in London, our preparation has been the things that we have to do, the things that we have to dominate throughout the game in different phases to give us the best possible chance to win the game. That's clear our mindsets, and that we're going to play tomorrow.
And finally, there's been lots of talk about comebacks and the noise in the stadium tomorrow night. How would you make sure that your players don't get wrapped up in the emotion?
I understand that is part of their history, and they have the right to be talking about these kind of scenarios. Ours is very different, and our mindset, preparation, our thoughts, and how we're going to have the best chance to be better than them in the aspects that are crucial in the game, because we're going to try to take the game to places very different to our intentions, and if we do that, we're going to have a good chance to win the game.
Dalmesh from Sky Sports.
Hi there, Mikel.
Hi.
We spoke to Jude Bellingham earlier. He says that the word that is buzzing around the Madrid camp is comeback or remontada. What's the key attribute that your team has to show in this game, do you feel?
The same mindset. The mindset to win, to be brave, to be dominant, to be determined, and to have the conviction that that we can be better than them and win the game.
Last one from me. Creating your own history has been a real theme from you and your players. Has that been the constant message that you've been sending them through this week?
But for sure, and without when you have to create a story, when you have to build a story, first of all, you have to be excited about it. They have to be really prepared about it, and then you have to be really convinced about what you want to achieve. And then it's about insisting and go step by step. And a lot of clubs have built a history by doing it many times, trying many times, sometimes failing, sometimes being successful. And last year we had an experience, and with that one we want to be better this season and apply that to be in the semi-finals, which it will be only our third time in the history of our football club.
John from the Mirror in the UK.
Hello, Mikel. When we saw Carlo Ancelotti earlier, he talked about his players needing heart and balls for tomorrow night. I just wonder, from what you've seen this season, can your players match and better that in both departments tomorrow night?
Yes, there are three main aspects in the game. It's the physical aspect, the technical and tactical aspect, and the emotional aspect. And that emotional aspect is very significant because I have a lot of reassurance for what the team has done all season. In positive context and in very difficult context, which I think it's probably the pathway and why those things happened. So to prepare us to scenarios like this and to be convinced that we can handle any situation and we're going to enjoy actually playing any kind of game that we have to be thrown tomorrow.
Mikel, Independent.
Hi, Mikel. Have you done anything different to prepare this week, even psychologically? Because obviously it's quite a strange situation. You're 3-0 up. Yet the Madrid kind of noise is trying to make you believe that you should doubt in some way.
Yeah, hopefully every game we do it differently. No, it will be very boring for 70 games, prepare the same plan and the same scenario for the players. So it's a different context, as I said, to the first leg. That's in the past. We take learnings from it, some very good, some others that we have to do still better than we did in London. And then have the capacity to have the intention to take the game where we want and have very able to adapt quickly to any other kind of a scenario to take the game where we want again.
Ian, BBC Radio 5 Live.
Hello, Mikel.
Hi.
Two questions in one, if I may.
Yeah.
How do you block out that external noise? Because the narrative here in Spain is if
impossible. Outside, no, we can do it on the pitch. Now, I understand that is a narrative that that is going to give the fuel to them.
But also, my other point was, it's over 100 games since you lost by a 3-goal margin. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that resilience that you've found in the last couple of years? And what was your message be to the team in the dressing room before you leave for the field?
That we have to do it again. I think it's over 472 days or something like this. But it doesn't matter. We have to prove it now in this context. And that's the beauty of it. That's the challenge, and that's the great thing about sports. And that we've shown that we are capable of doing it. That has to give us reassurance and confidence that we can do it. And now let's talk on the pitch and do it on the pitch. It's the only thing that matters.
Okay, over here to Tom from Football London.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
There's been a lot of talk here in Spain, particularly about the word fear and suggesting that Arsenal are fearful of the Real Madrid comeback. Have you seen anything in your players that suggests you've seen any fear in your team this week?
No, I wouldn't use that word. I mean, I think respect, admiration for what they've done in the competition as a club over the years, the history that they have, the values that they defend. Unbelievable, amazing, an inspiration for any coach, any manager, any team. But after that is the competition, is what we are going to face tomorrow, an opposition that we know very well and that we are determined to go out there and try to win the game.
And obviously all the talk and all the videos that people watched over and over again was around Declan Rice's free kicks. Has he been practicing more this week?
Yes, he has, and if we can create any more of those moments, that will be amazing. It was a great moment. I think the third goal as well was beautiful to watch, a very collective goal, and yeah, when you go to that stage, you're going to have big team moments, big individual moments, and that's time to do it on the pitch.
Phil PA.
Hi, Mikel. You said obviously if Arsenal get through, it's only the third semi-final. If you get it over the line, do you think that's the greatest achievement of your career? And do you sense any nerves at all within this squad ahead of tomorrow's game?
I think it's excitement. I think when we talk about creating that, look how small the history is. We never won the competition, and we are trying to do something now consistently where we can start to dominate the European competition. We have to earn the right tomorrow to do that. In these big stages, it doesn't get any better than this, and I think it's a great opportunity for the team to do it.
Okay, we'll get to as many people as possible, but the last two in English now. Firstly, Jordan from the Sun behind you there.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You say about it's impossible to block out the noise and the narrative before the game starts. Is there any danger that when the players walk onto the pitch, it's going to be in their minds that they can do this, they have done this before? What if we're the next team to suffer?
We have tried to repeat the opposite message. So in the brain of the players, what they have here in the last 72 hours is something completely different. And we are very close to them. And hopefully that's more powerful than anything else. But again, you have to be out there, you have to experience it, you have to feel it, and you have to go through it. And that's what we have to do tomorrow.
Okay, finally one in English for Isan from the Daily Mail.
Hi, Mikel. With obviously Declan Rice's two free kick goals just the other week, has that kind of whetted the appetite for more from him from an attacking sense? And in terms of midfielders in England, how high would you rank him up there after his performances this season and last season too?
Yeah, again, I think he's creating the story with us, and that moment is going to be in our history for a while, especially the way he did it, the manner he did it, and doing it twice, which is very, very rare. So it's about creating more, and now I think he's going to have the belief that he's capable of delivering those kind of moments more and more, and that's something very important, because if he believes more, it's going to happen more often.
Okay, that's done in English. We'll now go to our colleagues in Spain. Firstly from Juan Castro.
Mikel, buenas tardes. Juan.
Hi, Mikel. Juan Castro from Marca. Welcome to Spain. So it has been said a lot about the atmosphere in Bernabeu, but as you've said, more than 72 games, 79 games without being scored more than 3 goals. And maybe all this information tells you something for tomorrow's game, right? This what makes me be sure that the team is ready. And we've proven that in different contexts. Again, there are different rivals and opponents. But in the end, we'll have to prove that tomorrow. And there's the beautiful thing of this sport. What you did yesterday doesn't matter. The team is convinced. The team is confident. And tomorrow we'll do our best so that the Real Madrid arguments are minimized. And our arguments are the most frequent and strong ones in the game. Hello, Mikel and Tom Meana from Cadena Ser. We're asking about comebacks. I know even some colleagues from England have talked about this narrative, all these stories. I don't know that. Well, if a coach, you can speak about what has happened during this season here. Great clubs, Bayern, City, PSG, living this narrative aside, maybe from a football point of view, could you think about this? Could you think about the fact that Real Madrid plays very long games? It doesn't matter if you're winning a game. Do you work in that as a coach during our playoff? Of course we do. In the end, that's part of the analysis. You need to understand why things have happened, and there are things that are in your hand, there are things that are not, and of course the quality you have to create that chaos and that moment for example, the level of uncertainty sometimes is very high. So how can we prevent that? We need to try to train it and not to happen. Hi, Mikel. Lola Hernandez from Fox Sports Mexico. So with 3-0, have we prepared penalty kicks, or you rule it out? We prepare penalty kicks every week. If you have to prepare them just for another playoff as during another stage, I think that we wouldn't be doing a good job. Hello, Mikel. Diego Plaza, El Chiringuito. So a few years ago in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, when you were going to go to Anfield, you were training with a You Never Walk Alone on loudspeakers. Have you done something similar, or have you prepared your players from a psychological point of view for the atmosphere here in Bernabeu tomorrow? No, I haven't done that. I think that it's a different game, but the emotional part, the mental part is that they have to be sure and confident that we are ready. They need to have arguments for them to know that we are ready and confident, and that tomorrow we have to be bold and brave to do it. And this is what I've tried to convey to my players, and they have to feel it. We did that in London, it happened, and now we have to do that in different contexts, and that's a beautiful thing of being in such a situation. Hello, Mikel. One question, maybe it's a little bit stupid, but why should you play to win when you are 3-0? Because it is the way in which we feel more comfortable, and the way why we play football to be better than the rival. And so that the chances we have to win are as high as possible. We try to understand what the opponent wants to do, where they want to bring the game to, and the closer we are to that, the closer we'll be to semi-finals.
¿Qué tal, Mikel?
Hi, Mikel. Juan Mabadia for Notice Sports. A lot has been said about the team, about the comebacks, but how do you feel 24 hours before the game? And would you say that it's the most important game in your career? Well, I'm ready to play. I really want to play. I really want to be there with my players, with the club, in a scenario that, well, in the end, this is what we've tried to do in the last years, in the last seasons, to position the club at this level against the best opponents in Europe. And we want to be better than them, and we want to be in the semi-final.
Firstly, the gentleman in the white at the back there, with the hand up at the back there, and then we'll come to the final question with this gentleman down here.
Buenas tardes,
Hello, Mikel, for HSM Sports. First of all, I would like to ask if you feel under pressure for tomorrow, and second, if you feel comfortable in these contexts, knowing how important a day like tomorrow will be for your personal story. Well, the most beautiful days in the week are the days that when we play, when you feel that adrenaline, that will to compete. And this is why I love this profession. I love this job. And if I had to pick one of the scenarios that I like the most, it would be this one. So I'm really looking forward to doing it. Hello, Marcelo Dobal from Dosis Futbolera. In one of your answers in English, you've talked about the three factors in English: the physical, technical, and tactical, and emotional. You know that if the game moves to emotional side, well, maybe you could lose in this stadium. What does Arsenal have to do for football to be the most important thing here and not the emotions? Well, it depends. If we have a positive mood and if they feel frustrated, maybe the game would be much closer than what we want to do. But this would depend on every action of every moment on how the game evolves. But in the end, the context of the results, especially at the beginning of the game, can't change that much because, as you've said, the game will be in opposite direction.